talking about the academic writing, research writing, it envisages huge panorama of activity. I see that most of you are still active writing that from wherever you are, who you are. But that does mean that if I start teaching now, you will still continue to write who you are and from where you are. That means your shifting of energy is somewhere else. It is not on the session. So for the moment, I would request everyone to stop using the chat box. And I would really need a lot of discipline while talking this serious subject about the academic writing, research writing part, because my deepest concern, I'm sharing deepest concern, is they are rather two. One, that most of the Indians do not get published in the international journals. This is number one. Number two, that we Indians by default feel that you know it's okay to be like that. Both the things I want to break today. It's so important for us to understand that why Indians do not get published so easily outside. There are multiple reasons because we do not follow certain standards in writing. The kind of need of presentation is there at the international journals and the features. You do not do any kind of, the basic research before even writing a paper. Now, what is, I'm on a lighter note, how do we respond to writing a paper? Ever since it has been made important that for your API score, you need a publication. That moment onwards, there have been people who started their journal for money. 1500 रुपए दे दो, आपका पेपर पब्लिश हो जाएगा. और 5 पेपर पब्लिश हुए नहीं कि आपका APS स्कोर इतना हो जाएगा. So, the mandate for writing a compulsory research paper, Archana Satnami ji, I did say that please stop using the chat box for now. Please do not use the chat box for now. If if people are not able to understand what I'm talking, then I will have to stop, Anjuji. I will not be able to continue for the session. Because it is very important that we all are on the same page. Thank you for understanding, Archana. Now it's so important for each one of us that I'm talking a serious subject. Why do not we get published in the in the international journals? Because we do not follow the proper research framework. B, we quote many things which are already there without proper citation, without proper acknowledgement, without referencing it in a proper way where it gets published. And another thing, the moment API was made mandatory according to the UGC for your promotions, everybody thought, yeah, this is something very difficult, how to get it published. So many institutions started their own journals, and for the sake of money, everybody started printing again without following most of the, without following most of the academic writing profiling norms and standards. This was something which was, very, very painful for people like us. Coming back to the very important point that, okay, it's okay that people started journals and people started getting published and started getting APIs and started getting promoted. But my worry started when many people started shops or started outsourcing their writing to somebody else. That okay, take write my name in one of the papers, and I'm ready to pay 2,000 rupees, I'm ready to pay 10,000 rupees, I'm ready to pay 15,000 rupees just to get that paper done. as per the standards of whatever XYZ. See, this is not uh, the academics has to be. I see that that's why I believe that not writing is not everyone's cup of tea. But without doing research, without doing academic publications, we basically are nothing. We basically are nothing. So it is so important to carry on your work and continue to do the academic pursuits in a way that you get heard, you get seen, you get published, you add value in real sense, and not like, oh, I published 20 papers this year. I have one faculty known to me. He always talks, I have 20, 25 paper always ready in my bag and I get it published. And when I started slowly checking up that how can somebody write so many papers, then I started looking up that it's so easy for this person to go to the inflibnet or the e-libraries and just copy cut paste from there and publish it, because not everyone, not everyone, you know, can be doing this kind of a thing where he thinks that plagiarism would not be checked. So there are even ethical issues that you are copying pasting from and you know, he came for my journal. You might have heard in my introduction that I am also on the chief editorial advisory board of ECNR Canada and IJHRD PPR, that is International Journal for HRD and you know, public research policies and everything. So there, this man has dared to give a paper. The title and you know, the contents were so similar, because I just read one of the Vikalpa, I am Ahmedabad's one journal. It just came to my hand a day before. I was reading it, and the other day, this man's paper comes, and I said, no, this was not the author of the paper. Let me just go and check Vikalpa again. You won't believe even dot comma were not removed. They were not changed the position. Only the author's name was changed, and this man has got the audacity, the courage, the grit, and the you know what you say, the easiness to say that I can publish like that, that nobody would notice it is IMAS Vikalpa who is going to read that in an international, you know, so some other paper. This is so heartening. This is so how people लोग चोरी करते हैं और इतने खुलेआम चोरी करते हैं कि बड़ा बुरा लगता है, और इसी वजह से इंटरनेशनल लेवल पे पब्लिश नहीं होता है बहुत आसानी से. The second reason why we do not get easily published is high level of plagiarism, high level of theft, academic theft of the idea, of the concept, of the review of literature, of the research framework, of the questionnaire, without citation, without even giving the value to it. So, you know, this is a pain point. This is a pain point. Let me repeat, this is a pain point, and that is why it is all the more important that you know that what are the dynamics of academic research writing. So, I would start with very important uh, dynamics, that is review of literature. You know, I would be starting with academic framework, review of literature, because for any sound research, review of literature is the basis that how much has gone into the research already. Are you going to repeat the activity same again? Then we are not adding any value. The basic reason for review of literature are two: that you should not be doing the same thing again and again, and secondly, how much deeper, how much wider, how much in depth you are going to add value in the existing literature. That makes the paper sellable in the international market, and it becomes much more easier for you if you have those strong things coming in your research paper or your thesis. It goes into the eyes of good publishers. This is an important point which I wanted to say. So I would start with review of literature. Now, few of you, or maybe as many of you, start because we don't have uh, the breakout room facility here. Otherwise, I would have put you across the breakout room. But please now use one uh, chat box here and write one heading. I will pick up one or two headings from you. Like heading does mean the title of research so that we can, yeah, Janki Das, you can write it up, please. You can write or you can unmute and then talk. I don't know whether you can unmute yourself or not. Janki Das, can you use the board, the chat room? I see Sounder J. Yeah, Janki Das. We can't hear you.
Please share on chat box.
Share from the chat box. Please
Yeah.
mute yourself, Janki Das.
To speak, you can
Please
speak.
mute yourself. We can't hear you. Madam, as a host, you will have to mute him.
Okay.
Yeah, he has muted. He has muted. Good. Thank you. So, Mubashir Iqbal, do you have something to offer as what would be the title of a research paper or a research study you would like to say, take? Mubashir Iqbal, I saw you actively there on the screen. If yes, then please use the chat box now. I'm opening the chat box now. Please write your research titles on the chat box. Meena Suthar, M. Giridhar, Kriti Agrawal, Danya, Amanpreet, Sheila, anybody can write. Yeah, customer attitudes towards green banking practices for. So hold on, I think this is so good. Eye tracking and heat maps, the future of consumer behavior prediction. Superb. I think so nice. Um, so let us take that. What are the dimensions of it? Okay. So I'm taking a little easier one for the benefit of everyone. Customer attitudes towards green banking practices for environmental sustainability. I see this title here. Okay. So customer attitude, green banking practice, environmental sustainability. These are the four major words. Customer attitude and customer attitude as a joint word. Customer alag se, attitude alag se, customer attitude as a joint word, plus green banking practice, plus environmental sustainability. So there are 3 to 4 major words, right? Similarly, I see sustainability of rural women, microfinance, self-help groups in India. So sustainability, one part, rural women, second part, microfinance, third part, self-help groups in India is the fourth part. So see, when you are writing a title, I like the one with eye tracking thing also. Yeah. So let me just check. Where is that one gone? Eye tracking and oh, this is just jumping. Eye tracking and heat maps. So eye tracking one, heat maps two, consumer behavior three, future and prediction would come under one category that goes as four. So see that what I'm trying to tell you is that there are some keywords. गिरिराज किशोर के उपन्यासों में नारी का एक अध्ययन. So गिरिराज किशोर as a writer one, उनके उपन्यास. Number two, नारी, उनके उनका विश्लेषण जो नारी और नारी के की विवेचना की गई है वो that comes as your third aspect. Yeah. Or analysis of working capital one, liquidity, profitability, then during economic slowdown. So you have at least 5 such dimensions. So every title would have something interesting to offer based on which you have to do the review of literature. So let me just simply go towards my presentation today, and we will just go for it and see that how it works. And I hope everyone can see what I'm presenting. Yeah. So we have to see that there is a lot of data, information, knowledge, and decisions which are together. You also have to see that what is a good information. A good information is that which can get converted into knowledge and data. This is an important that spiral loop is there. So that is very, very important. And what are all the aspects of good information? Quality, relevance of that particular information, how much is the quantity, how much is the timeliness, what is the cost involved, and how simple it can reach to the people, and how much updated it is. A good information source has to be identified, and for that what you need is, you really need relevant publications like journals, articles, e-library resources, and so many things. So you need to search the relevant literature. You remember अभी अभी हमने एक exercise किया that the moment you finalize a title, there are 4 to 5 major keywords. So the moment you have those keywords, you can start searching the relevant literature at various places. Yeah. Then evaluate the source. This is a very important point. I would say that we were going through certain research reformation at the national level, and we found that many people use Wikipedia as a source. Many people use newspaper as a source of information. Now, this is something very, very challenging to understand. Wikipedia is not a reliable source because anybody can upload their own understandable version on Wikipedia. You can't take it from there. So Wikipedia is not a good source. All the news items in the newspapers can never be a source of good information unless there is something research as published research by a reliable source. Even newspaper can never become a source of good information for you. So searching the relevant literature and evaluating the sources from where you're getting this review done is very, very important. Now, identify theme, debates, and the gaps. So, while we identified 4 or 5 words in your thesis title, alongside you have to see that how the themes are working, like behavior, consumer behavior attitude 1, global practices 2, Indian practices maybe number 3, number 4, what are the various purchase behavior you can see based on whatever. So like that you can divide them, classify them on the basis of theme, and you can put a debate forward that these are the things which are acceptable, which are very specific to India, we're very specific to Western world. You can put a debating point that this is not applicable in India, and hence this falls under research gap. So when Walmart was not about to come in India, and there were a lot of studies of Walmart, Costco in US, that time people used to write that this is a geographical gap because India doesn't have an online purchase, buying, or selling platform like Amazon. So it was that time, 10 years, 15 years down the line, when India was not open for these kind of platforms. And that time, if somebody has done a research, they would have written that geographical gap. But now it is not so. Even in India, you have these online huge platforms, the offline huge supermarkets available in India. So you can have debates. Some smaller countries still they do not have, so you can have some debates and gaps on the basis of that. And you have to write your review of literature. I will just go through a very quick run through how a review of literature is done. I'm just quickly going through one small presentation. If you can see this, this is how I use to write my structure of review of literature. I never write it in a paper. I prefer to write it on an Excel sheet. This Excel sheet, you can have, please have screenshots if you would love to. Please, you can have the screenshots so that it helps you that how and why it is done. I would just run through the title if you can see behavioral kaizen through training and development interventions with reference to aviation industry. uh, this is a thesis done by my one of IIM endorsed scholar, Dr. Dr. Bharti Meghani Mishra, and she has completed her research. But um, I'm using the review of literature which we done for the purpose of research. हम लोग रिव्यू लिखने से पहले हम ये एक्सेल शीट बनाते हैं. तो आप देखिए जो पहला है टाइटल ऑफ बुक और जर्नल, तो कहाँ से है, कौन सा वॉल्यूम है, दिस कम्स एज your Excel sheet. While I'm reading at that time itself, I would write the title of the book or the journal or the source. Then who are all the author, then the title of the work, because title of book and title of work can be definitely different. So you can use the title of exact wordings which were used by the authors. Then in which year it is done. Then what is the type of study? You can see empirical, descriptive, exploratory. So it gives a rough idea that what is the main way of doing a research. Research tool used cluster analysis, phenomenology, semi-structured interviews, and blah, blah, blah. So there are so many down below. Then what were the key focus points of this academic paper? So each paper when I read, I use usually 4 to 5 colors of pen.
Okay.
4 to 5 colors of pen. I would always read from the, uh, you know, I would read it from the printed copy, and I would use different colors. मधुसूदन जी कुछ पूछना है आपको? आप म्यूट पर हैं सर.
Yeah, slide is not visible, madam. Excel slide.
No, I just removed it. I stopped sharing it.
From first also we were unable to. All people,
Okay. I would try to do it.
please, if possible.
Yeah, thank you. Moksha Prabha, can you now see it, Dr. Madhusudan? Is it okay now? Good, great. So now you just see, I'll just quickly run through it. You can take a screenshot, title of book, journal, author, title of the particular, paper, year, type of the study which you have done, research tool used or method used, and key focus points. What are the major learning points from the type of study, and definitely the outcome of research. Now, what happens? I was talking that I would use different colors of pen. Why? So something which is stating the year of study. So I may use a green colored highlighter. Something which talks about this paper uses cluster analysis and, factor analysis and the regression and this modeling, structural equational modeling. I would use all the orange color pens to say that these are the parts of research methodology, sampling size, any such information which is directly related with the research methodology would go into an orange color for me. Highlight them in entire full paper, wherever these words come, I would highlight them. Okay, then comes like what are the major findings? So in that case, I may use pink color pen or a red color highlighter or a blue color highlighter. And also some geographical area. So I may use a blue color pen. Geographical area where this research was done, maybe sub-African continent. Or it says a comparison between Australia, New Zealand, and UK. So then I would mark them with blue so I remember the geographical locations where the research was done. I'm reading a paper, so I have highlighters with me of different colors, and I mark it then and there, and my Excel sheet would be open with in front of me, and immediately I key in these things into the Excel sheet. Title of the book, journal, its volume, year of publication, title of the article, the author details if email or anything is there. Then, what kind of analysis, what kind of questionnaire, what kind of type of study, what is the sample size, what are the key learning points, what is the geographical area, what kind of focus of study was, and what was the major finding. So if I have those those titles ready on my Excel sheet, I would immediately know how many things I have created like that. So the moment I read 10 papers, I can easily see on my spreadsheet what is the trend emerging out. Can you or not? Tell me. Somebody give me some uh, uh, you know uh, yeah, so Udayini is writing yes ma'am, so I take it for granted that yes, no, doing this instead of having a bunch of filed articles, the moment I use highlighters and I know what is denominating pink, what is denominating blue, what is denominating green highlighter or a yellow highlighter, it would always, so you have to use every time for the same thing, the same color of pen. Otherwise, it would be confusing to yourself, right? So you have to use it. And the moment you pick up the paper, you don't need to read the entire 40-page article. You just go through your highlight points and you would know what the paper is talking about. It is so important to create this kind of an Excel sheet. You don't need to present it in the research paper or in your thesis, but this is one good exercise to compile your review of literature at one page, in one page. It is so much important. In one at a glance information. Yeah. Thank you, Sadhana and Arun Prashant, and I can see so many people responding on the chat box. Thank you so much for acknowledging. It is a very useful exercise. So let me just show you back one more time that how useful it is. That the you can I'll just scroll down. You would see like just research tool use. Just focus on this column here. So cluster analysis is there, phenomenology, semi-structured interviews, semi-structured interviews. EFA is used in one paper, correlation, case study, then case study approach, structured interviews, then Mann-Whitney, U-test, Wilcoxon sign, rank test, standard deviation, interviews, case study. Now, based on this, I'm seeing a pattern that if I have to do a behavioral Kaizen, so, you need to identify what are the various variables you use in conceptual framework and your operational framework. You need these variables to be identified. It can have a lot of variables. Antecedent is something which is, pre or historic, relevant to your research. Like if I'm going a new trend in something, but there is already something called history of it, or something which has already been a very value added thing already there. So in that case, you can go for an antecedent variable. Ante does mean pre. So something which has happened previously is, if it is taken as a variable, it would be an antecedent variable. I think it needs a whole class to tell you the variables, but I would just quickly run through. Usually we know independent, dependent variables are there. Extraneous or exogenous variables are there, which would be, external to your theme of activity, but it would be needed, like a government regulation changes. I'll just give you one example. We were studying the PepsiCo and Limca comparison almost 23 years down the line. I'm not talking about now. And suddenly, what happened? WHO stopped one substance called BVO, brominated vegetable oil. Limca was using BVO as its main ingredient, and Limca had to throw all the bottles because WHO suddenly stopped that and said that BVO is the source of cancer and you cannot utilize it in any food, drinks, or any kind of colors to be used in that kind of drink. And Limca had to stop this. So I was doing a study on Limca and Coca-Cola or Pepsi. It everything went into water just because of this extraneous factor, the exogenous factor. And we had to tell that this extraneous factor has affected our study. Yeah. So it is very important for us to know that sometimes there can be external sources also which can impact our variables of the study. This is a conceptual framework where I design my variables in a way that it creates a model. This is the conceptual framework of my research. You can see antecedent variable in the middle, first left corner, antecedent variable. Then you have an independent variable connected with a dependent variable. So any changes in a and a यानी antecedent variable या अगर independent variable में कोई भी परिवर्तन होता है तो dependent value में क्या change आता है, variable में क्या change आता है. So impact of motivation on buying behavior, impact of promotion on customer satisfaction or something like that. So you know you have an independent variable and you have a dependent variable. You can have an extraneous or exogenous variable, which is called EV, which can impact either your antecedent variable, your independent variable, or your dependent variable. Okay. Like history of Nokia or history of Samsung, it can be impacted by certain things. Okay. Then there can be various other variables like moderator variable or can be mediator variable. The variable studies I will not talk now because this is very complicated thing, but I'm just telling that this is a conceptual framework. Yeah. Once the conceptual framework has been there,
Sorry, ma'am, to interrupt you. We can't see your PPT. No PPTs. I mean, there's a black box on the screen, and people are not able to see your PPT.
not an issue, not an issue at all. Can you see it now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, it's visible now.
So this is a conceptual framework. I'm fitting all the variables which are there in a model where which is connected to what. Suppose I take a parameter of study. Okay. So I just presented schematically the scheme of my study. If I do this kind of a plotting, it gives me a conceptual framework that what relationship I'm going to study of X with Y and Z. So the moment that is there, what happens? Remember, conceptual is identifying what you are going to research on. And operational is how you are going to connect now with these by using hypothesis testing or anything. So conceptual framework and operational framework would always give you an important dimension to understand that, you know, it is so important for you to understand that the things which are there, you would be seeing it through a wonderful framework, and you would be able to write your paper in a very systematic manner. Last but not the least, I see that, you know, it's already 1 more minute left for me. I did address few questions in between, but let me tell you, once your conceptual and operational frameworks are robust, you would be able to write a good research paper with a strong analysis. Now, what happens? Our papers are mostly talking about this percentage versus this percentage. This many percentage ने ये कहा, उसने ये कहा, इस इतने percentage ने ये कहा. This is how we write the paper. We do not write the implication and application part of the research, that what does it mean. कोमल जी, मैं आपके organizers को भेज दूंगी list of journal. They would circulate it to you. Okay. So it is so important for us to think in that way, that implication of the research are never given. बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है. हम लोग बिल्कुल implications नहीं बोलते. अनिल मेहता सर को मेरा प्रणाम. सर, मुझे आप दिख गए, मेरे लिए तो बहुत बड़े भाग्य की बात है. Thank you so much. So you know, it is so easy to write what is given in the table data as it is. You write the factor analysis is done so and so and so. So this factor has got this eigenvalue, that is why this is accepted. वहीं छोड़ देते हैं. लेकिन इसका मीनिंग क्या है, इसका implication क्या है, इसका application in the knowledge क्या है, what kind of theory it is building, what kind of concept it is building, we often do not write in our academic papers or research. That is why we do not get published anywhere so easily. It is so important that please do write along with your data analysis, write your implications, write the applicability, replicability, where all it can be replicated, how all it can help the academic fraternity or the special area where which you have written, how is it going to add value. This is what you will have to write. Do have a robust reference and bibliographical list. Do have proper citation, else publication is a tedious task. It is mandatory as a teacher, as an academician, as a researcher. And I have taken one more minute from my classroom, and hence I stop here. And how plagiarism has been done? Do I teach you how plagiarism is done? Sorry, dear. This is against my ethics, but plagiarism checks are done. Yeah. So you can do a lot of softwares are there. You don't need to buy them, but at least you can have like small thing, turn it in. Very simple. You know, Urkund is there, entire UGC is using, but you can check even a particular paragraph that whether it is plagiarized or not. Just use Turnitin software, 3,000 word at a time. You can check whether it is plagiarized or not. It can be definitely done. Yes. Yeah.